Welcome into the In the Money podcast for KeenelandSelect.com. For Saturday, February 1st, Tom Leach along with Jim Goodman. We have two graded stakes and three stakes to talk about as part of the late Pick 4 at Gulfstream Park. And we'll get you the Pick 4 ticket at the end of this podcast. But let's jump right in to the first graded stake, the Grade 3 Swale. This is for 3-year-olds, but at 7 furlongs, horses that want to build up to a little longer distance. And we've got some familiar names here. Where did you land?
Yeah, I always like this race because it is obviously a speed race, and there are horses that have an idea of being Derby contenders, maybe, but they've got to get something under their belts. It's a nice stepping stone, and there are horses that come out of this that become Derby contenders. It came down to me between Untitled. Mark Cassie's got this horse in his barn now after Ralph Nix had him on his maiden win, and he won by 11, so they went searching for more named trainer, and Mark Cassie's got him. He got a 98 buyer first time out at Gulfstream, so he's probably going to be the favorite here. But Green Light Go has got a shot here as well, and just because of more experience. Horse comes out of the Champaign last October, hadn't been out in his 3-year-old season yet, but got beat by Tiz the Law, who we'll talk about it in a minute, who's going to be the favorite in the Holy Bull. So Green Light Go and Untitled are my two top choices. We'll get to Pick 4. I'll go a little bit deeper there, but that wouldn't be a bad exacta if you like Untitled. That 98 buyer just jumps off the page at you. But facing winners for the first time, had it all his way in that maiden special weight back on December 14th as a 2-year-old. So I don't think he's a lock. I also like Necker Island a little bit for Stanley Huff. This horse has done nothing wrong in his campaign and was really impressive at Churchill the last 2 times out. So that's where I'm standing here. Untitled would probably be my favorite, but not going to single him in the Pick 4.
Yeah, I'm going to try to beat Untitled for the reasons you mentioned. That 98 buyer figure is impressive and was purchased off that clearly. But I like Green Light Go. He's a Grade 2 winner. I like that they've gotten 4 or 5 furlong works into him in preparation for this. And it's just the first step, obviously, so he doesn't have to win. But I'm guessing that that he's going to be pretty well cranked because they've got to start earning points. And Castellano taking the ride I thought was interesting. And Necker Island was the other one that I think you could look at that went over Silver State back on November 30th at Churchill, was a nice one. 10th race is the Dania Beach, not graded, but it's for 3-year-olds as well. This one on the turf at a mile. Didn't have a strong opinion in here. I'll go deep in the Pick 4. I ended up for the win pick taking Maya Manoy, if that's how it's pronounced. Big improvement off the layoff to an 80 buyer. And Danny Gargan's barn is doing well at the meet. I thought Famished was interesting, having posted his best figure on the turf. Get Smokin' had the best number of his career off a layoff. Homeland just being from the Mont barn. And then South Bend making a turf debut, but has kept some really good company, so I'm going to throw that one in as well. But no real strong opinion here. How about you?
I like the Danny Gargan charge, too. I don't know how Pete's going to pronounce that horse. Maya Manoy? I don't know what it is.
Sounds good
anyway.
to me.
Well, it's close enough. Again, you mentioned Danny Gargan, 6 for 16 at the meet, and he's 12 of 16 in the money. So he's got his barn really hot. He's a 23% trainer for 2019, so this isn't new for him, but he's got a nice string at Gulfstream. So got to look at that horse. Also got to look at a couple of horses you mentioned, South Bend for Stanley Huff and Belmont's Homeland, the 3-horse for Ortiz. Also got to throw in John Kimmel's horse Famished, dropping down in class. He broke his maiden at Saratoga, and then they put him in a Grade 3 at Belmont and followed with another Grade 3, and he finished 4th in those. So ran against Independence Hall last time out. So there's nothing wrong with getting beat 16 because Independence Hall won that by 12. So dropping out of the Grade 3s, I think that horse has a shot too, and I'll go 4 deep in the Pick 4. Homeland would probably be my pick here for Belmont.
Let's go to the 11th race. I did look up the pronunciation of the one I like in here, which probably gives you a little indication of where I'm going, but we'll start with your pick, mile on the 16th for 3-year-olds, the Grade 3 Holy Bull. Tiz the Law is a huge favorite in here, but do you think he's vulnerable?
I think he's possibly vulnerable. The Kentucky Jockey Club, he went off at 3-5, and Silver Prospector beat him. When he says pocketed, ask 3/16. And if you watch the race, he was sitting in a good shot in a good spot, but he had never really been asked before. When he was asked the question, it was on a sloppy track, so he's got an excuse. His 90 and 89 buyers, his first two races, made him the big favorite there. So there's a question mark as to how far he's come along, and this is his first 3-year-old start, of course. Barkley Tagg's a great old school trainer, and he'll probably have this horse ready to go. But I wanted to go, and I'm not going to take your horse that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. I assume it's Biancone's horse, unless you can't pronounce my horse called Relentless Dancer. So Relentless Dancer is my second choice in here for Mike Maker. Just because the races at Churchill and Delta Downs were such walkovers. He won at Churchill, broke his maiden by 9 3/4. They brought him back to Delta in October, and he won a $100,000 stakes there by 10.5. So this is his first time out. No way in the world you're getting 8-1 on him with Jose Ortiz on here. That's a huge step up from Hernandez that rode him at Delta Downs. So I think Relentless Dancer with Ortiz is the bargain in here. Tis the Law at 3-5 is no bargain, but you certainly got to include him on your pick 4 tickets. But Relentless Dancer might be my upset pick here.
I'm going to try to beat Tis the Law also. I think it's possible that he may be exposed to a vulnerability in that race in the Kentucky Jockey Club. You look the other way, and the race has produced some next out winners, so maybe it was just a strong field. I'm going to try Ete Indian, an 86 buyer in the first start off a layoff and first start on dirt. And Biancone Barn's been doing well at the meet. This horse had a couple of good efforts on turf, but moves over to the dirt. Could be just the surface switch makes the big improvement. Could be just maturing and a rapidly developing 3-year-old. Because the running style was much different. Didn't show as much speed in those first two turf starts as he did last time out on the dirt. And I don't see a ton of speed in here. I think he could maybe control the race on the front end, and that's often a good spot to be at Gulfstream Park. So I'm going to try Ete Indian. Tis the Law. I'm going to add Toledo as well. Nice-looking horse from the Chad Brown barn who finished second to the top pick and then was 10 clear of the third horse. So I think this is a talented horse, too. And I'm going to throw in one more, Mayberry Deputy, just on being visually impressive in his win for Kenny McPeak last time. So always kind of paying attention to 3-year-olds that make a sharp move forward. They can improve in a hurry, and once they get good, they can stay good. So I'm going to throw that one in as well. And go 4 deep when we get to the pick 4, which is where we are because the 12th race is a non-winners of 3 lifetime claimer on the turf at a mile. So my pick 4 ticket's going to start out with just 2 horses in the first leg, 2 in the 4, Untitled and Green Light Go. Going to use all 5 that I mentioned in the Dania Beach, 2, 3, 6, 9, 10. I'm going to go 4 deep in the Holy Bull, 1, 3, 4, 7, with Tis the Law, Ete Indian, Toledo, and Mayberry Deputy. And then the last race, Robin Take Charge is maybe the win pick, a bad post last time out, and then good efforts before that and has 2 wins at Gulfstream. Kingsville, the 3, off the angle of being claimed by the Douglas Barn, which is a 37% angle. Mr. Stark, the 1, has a couple of wins at Gulfstream. I'm going to throw that one in. And the 8, Gunslinger, who has good speed and has 2 wins at a mile. So 1, 3, 6, 8 on the last leg for me. So I'm 2-4 with 2, 3, 6, 9, 10 with 1, 3, 4, 7 with 1, 3, 6, 8. And that's an $80 ticket. If you want to cut it in half, I would suggest in the Holy Bull just go Tis the Law and Ete Indian and leave out the 1 and the 7, and you could cut it in half because I don't see any big prices in this sequence. How about you?
Okay, I've got a little bit different structure for $64. First leg in the Swale, I went 1, 2, 4, 6. Mischievous Alex, Untitled, Green Light Go, and Necker Island. So 1, 2, 4, 6 in the first. In the 10th race, the Dania Beach, I went 4 deep as well with 2, 3, 6, 9. South Bend, Homeland, Maya or whatever you call it, the 6 horse, and Famish, the 9. I'm only going 2 deep in the Holy Bull, taking a stand with the 3 Tis the Law and 6 Relentless Dancer. And then I went 4 deep in the last leg using a couple horses that you used. My win pick would be Robin Taking Charge as well, the 6 horse, but I'm also going to throw in the 4 Dr. Dub, who had a really bad out last time out off the turf at Gulfstream. And getting back on the turf here, that horse had an 81 buyer last time around on the turf, so I think he's got a big shot. Then the other 2 I would use in that leg are the 8 Gunslinger and the 12 Gins and Tens for Juan Avita and Jose Ortiz on the outside. So my pick 4 ticket, $64, 1246 with 2369 with 36 with 46812.
Best of luck with your wagers on the Saturday card down at Gulfstream or wherever you are playing. There's some nice racing all across the country on Saturday to take advantage of. So best of luck. We'll see you next week for another edition of the In the Money podcast from KeenelandSelect.com.